Most people think college soccer works like this. D1 is the best, D2 in the middle, and Division 3 is sat at the bottom. And if you can't get a D1 offer, somehow you must have fallen short. That mental model isn't just incomplete, it is actively hurting your kid's recruitment before it even begins. Because college soccer in America is not 3 levels. It is a massive, complex landscape with 5 completely separate pathways. And within those pathways, there are enormous differences in program quality, playing time, scholarship money, and fit that most families never even think to look at. Now, we've spent years building the map. We've broken down all of college soccer into 10 different tiers. Not 3, 10. This system has been for internal uses only up until now, and it has helped hundreds of players get committed to programs where they can go in and make an immediate impact. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down every level of college soccer, all 5 pathways and all 10 tiers, so that finally you can have a clear and honest picture about how all of this actually works. All right, let's get straight into it. The reason that most players get this all wrong is because they are using divisions as a proxy for program quality. But the thing is, divisions don't tell you how good the program is. They just tell you which association the school belongs to. Here's what I mean. A top JUCO program will beat a bottom Division 1 program on any given day, and it is not even close. But if you're chasing the division label, you would never know that, because on paper, one of them says NCAA Division 1 and the other says NJCAA. And most families assume that D1 is automatically the best, and that assumption is costing players real opportunities every single year. So if divisions don't determine program quality, what does? The answer to that, my friend, is program funding. Higher funding means better facilities, stronger coaching staff, more scholarship money, and a higher level of competition day in and day out. And that is exactly what we built our tier system around. Not the division that the school competes in, the actual competitive level and the funding for that specific program. We have ranked every single college soccer program in America, all 5 pathways, into 10 different tiers. And once you see how programs actually rank, you start to see the whole college soccer landscape a little bit differently. All right, let me walk you through what the tiers actually look like. Tier 1 is elite of the elite. Stanford, Duke, UNC, UCLA, Virginia, Maryland. Programs with massive budgets, world-class coaching staffs, competing for national championships every single year. These are the programs sending players into professional soccer consistently. Tier 2 is still an extremely high level. Schools like Penn State, Notre Dame, UConn, and Creighton. And here is where it gets interesting, because Iowa Western Community College sits in Tier 2. That surprises most people because they see NJCAA and assume it's a low level. But Iowa Western is one of the best funded and most competitive programs in the country, regardless of what association it belongs to. This is exactly the point of this system. Tier 3 is where you start to see a genuinely interesting mix. D1 programs, D2 programs, D3 programs, NAIA schools, and junior colleges are all sitting in the same tier because they are at the same competitive level. Davidson, Villanova, Yale, Gonzaga, Tulsa, all sitting alongside strong NAIA schools and Division 3 programs that most families would never consider because of the label. Tier 4 is another wide mix across all 5 divisions. Legitimate competitive college soccer with real scholarship money available and real development is happening. There are hundreds of programs here, and this is the right fit for a huge percentage of players going through this process. Tiers 5 through 10 continue down from there, covering every level of college soccer, all the way to smaller programs still building their reputation. Now, here is the thing that I want you to understand. 2 programs in the same tier would have an extremely close and competitive game regardless of their division label. A Tier 3 Division 3 school and a Tier 3 Division 1 school are exactly the same when it comes to program quality. The division label doesn't automatically make one school better than the other. The tier that the school exists in does. Now, here is the piece that most families never get to hear, and once you understand it, your approach to college soccer recruiting shifts entirely. Coaches recruit within their own tier for incoming freshmen, but they will recruit 2 tiers below for transfers. Let me say that again, 2 tiers below for transfers. A Tier 1 program is not going out and recruiting the exact same pool of schools as a Tier 4 program, because the competitive gap is just too wide. But that same Tier 1 program will absolutely recruit a transfer who has performed at a tier 3 school previously. These are players that went in as a freshman from day one, made an immediate impact on their respected program, collected awards, collected accolades, and made some noise amongst the schools in the tiers above. Because now these tier 1 programs have evidence that these kids can perform, and that translation from tier 3 to tier 1 is now possible. And this is the insight that should completely change how you view college recruitment. The goal is not to get into the highest tier possible as a freshman. The goal is to get into the right tier as a freshman, a place where you will go and play and develop, where you can reach a higher tier later on. I call this strategic progression. This is the difference between a player who commits to a Division 1 program because of the Division 1 label, sits on the bench for 2 years, and then transfers for year 3 in an attempt to get game time, ending their career on a low. And a player who starts at a school that may be a little bit below their pay grade, uses that school as a stepping stone, and makes their way to a higher tier later on, ending their college career on a high, and hopefully putting themselves in the shop window for professional scouts. The transfer portal has completely changed college soccer, and the players who actually understand strategic progression are using it to their advantage. All right, so let me show you what this looks like in practice, because here's where everything starts to click. When a player comes to us, the first thing we do is we evaluate their film and place them inside a tier. Once we've placed them inside a tier, we send them a list of schools inside that tier of schools that are looking for a player like them in their position. Our clients then get to pick from that list, and that is the list we move forward with so we can tap into our network. Now for us, we don't do anything through email, and neither do our clients. Everything we do is through WhatsApp, and that is because we have connections to over 1,100 college programs. My definition of a connection is a group chat with a coaching staff. Now the reason this is important is because we send our kids to programs that they can go and make an immediate impact as a freshman. That way they are starting at the right point, and they will end their career on a high as long as they take care of business on the field. Now let's say we evaluate a player and think he has tier 2 potential, but the kid is 18 years old, physically underdeveloped, and needs to get some college experience under his belt. We might look at him and say, look, you can go in at a tier 4 program as long as you ball out year 1, collect some accolades, and get recognized for being an outstanding player. We can help you reach that level. As long as he goes in, starts, contributes a lot as a freshman, and ideally gets these awards, the world is his oyster. And all of a sudden, by sophomore year, or potentially worst case scenario, junior year, is it a tier 2 or a tier 1 program? Start it. Playing time at the right tier will always put you on the path for success better than going to the highest tier possible. And I cannot say that clearly enough, because this is a thing that most families resist the most. And it is a thing that costs most players their professional dreams. Now let me show you what happens when you combine our tier system with our connections. We have about a 10% conversion rate across all the players we've worked with. For every 50 coaching staffs that we send a player to, that leads to around 5 scholarship offers. So here's how it breaks down. We send a kid's profile to 50 different coaches. We get 50 responses, and I'll explain why we have a 100% response rate in just a second. Of those 50, around 35 will say they're not interested. Maybe the position is filled, maybe they don't have the scholarship available, whatever it is, 35 will say they're not interested. The other 15 will hop on a call with your kid. And from those 15 calls, around 10 will dip out of the recruiting process, and around 5 will look to present offers. 50 messages, 5 offers, 10% conversion rate. And those numbers work because of really 3 things. First, targeted outreach. We are only reaching out to coaches that we believe your kid is actually good enough to get recruited to. Second, direct connections. We aren't a stranger in the coach's inbox. We actually don't do anything through email. Text messages get read, cold emails get buried. And third, reputation. Coaches ask us for our players. We're not always coming to them. And the reason they trust us is because we only send over players that we believe is a genuine fit for the program. And the reason that we know that is because of our tier system. Now, like I mentioned earlier, we have connections to over 1,100 men's soccer programs and over 750 women's soccer programs. When we send your son or daughter's profile to a coach, we get a response, whether that is yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not, within 48 hours. And that is a completely different game than most families watching this are playing. All right, so let me just recap kind of everything we spoke about in this video. Divisions are labels. They tell us which association the school belongs to, nothing more. The tier system that we've created gives you a common language to evaluate every single program in the country. And strategic progression is actually how you can have a successful college career. Now, if you're interested in working with us, you can apply for a call through our website, and I'll pop the link to our website in the description below. Now, one more thing before I let you guys go. I want to use the comments section as an opportunity for you guys to pop the schools you're talking to or the schools you're interested in, and we will tell you what tier that school exists in. This is an opportunity for you to gain access to our internal system that is based on multiple data points and is the most accurate evaluation of the actual quality of the soccer program that exists. There is a reason we don't make this public, because this is part 1 of 2 of our secret sauce. But I will give you guys a sneak peek. So if you do want to comment the school you're talking to or interested in, I'll tell you which tier the school belongs in. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.